everyone, I hope that you're all really well. This is going to be the vlog from when Charlie and I went to Florence for our 1-year anniversary a couple of weeks ago. So Florence is the capital city of the Italian region of Tuscany, and the city itself has a population of around 380,000 people. Florence is well known for and absolutely packed with Renaissance art, architecture, culture and history, and so is often referred to as the cradle of the Renaissance. It was also very hot there when we arrived, much hotter than usual. It's usually about 13 degrees in April, but it was more like 24 or 25 degrees, and we were told by all of the locals that it felt much more like the beginning of summer. We stayed at a little boutique B&B called Soprano Suites. The river running through Florence is called the Arno, and the B&B was located just over the river from the main area, so Soprano literally means the other side of the river. Our room was absolutely incredible, we couldn't believe it. It was even better than in the photos. As you can see, we had our own fresco and the whole room was filled with beautiful details and also a really lovely perfume. We also had a really pretty view out of the window and down the streets. The walls of the room were full of music sheets and really intricately cut out paper decorations. To get into town, it was a short walk down the river and over a bridge, and every time we did that we had a beautiful view of the Ponte Vecchio, which is famous because it's lined with shops, and it was one of the only bridges in Florence not destroyed in World War II. Of course, we visited the Florence Cathedral, whose official name is the Cathedral di Santa Maria del Fiore, but is more commonly known as just Duomo. It was built very much in the Italian Gothic Renaissance style, and building began in 1296 and finished in 1436. And the exterior is made of polychrome marble panels in a mixture of green, pink and white, and as you can see it's just absolutely breathtaking, and it's very humbling to be in the presence of such an amazing structure. That's the best thing. As it was our first day, we just wanted to familiarise ourselves with the local area, so we had lunch in the Piazza del Signorina. And this was so lovely. Later on the way back to our room, the street was filled with music, and it turned out that it was people having a dance lesson in one of the buildings on the street, and it was just such a lovely thing to hear the local people just going about their lives.
So funny. Oh. So cute.
Florence is so beautiful at night, and on several occasions there were people playing music on the street, which was very, very atmospheric. And on this occasion there was a woman playing the violin in a full evening gown. She had really made the effort, and it was really, really beautiful.
Do you have any change?
I've got €2. It's like, looks like
I just realised I'm filming this for the sound. I'm talking.
Oh.
Oops.
Yeah, I've got €2.
The next morning we had breakfast in the B&B, and it is a gorgeous homely little breakfast room which does a full continental breakfast with coffee and all that kind of thing, and it was just lovely. All of the shelves of the B&B were full of fun trinkets, and it's managed by a husband and wife team, and the wife is an interior designer, and I think that is really reflected in the way that the hotel is styled. So that morning we had booked a tour of the Florence countryside with 500 Touring Club, where you drive around the Tuscan countryside in vintage Fiat 500s, and this was absolutely incredible, and we were so excited to do this.
Oh, okay. The left one, sorry, not to eject the seats, just to say, the left one is the choke.
Okay.
Now I already turned on the car before, but for the first 5 minutes we need to have a little bit the choke on, just to keep going. Pull up the starter until you hear the sound. Raise the accelerator. Keep pumping a little bit just to give the time to the engine to turn on. The car is on. Lawnmower as well.
Yeah. So
It's the easier engine that you can find on the road. Still found on the road. Well, the Mini, you downshift to have a little bit more power. In this one, for example,
the cars all have different names, so Olivia is the oldest one, which was made in 1956, and our car, Fernando, or referred to as Fernandino because he was the youngest one, is from 1973. The cars have 16 horsepower, which is basically just a lawnmower. We drove through the Chianti region, which is obviously very famous for its wine, stopping at various places to enjoy the views and learn about the region.
if you have time to look a little bit around.
Yeah.
But around here, we are
It was really lovely to see a different part of Italy that was not filled with tourists, something that we wouldn't otherwise have seen if we hadn't have found this tour. We also stopped in a little Italian village to try their coffee and pastries, which we were recommended by our tour guide Nick. And we also drove past a castle that you can just about see in the distance on the left there, which supposedly, according to our tour guide, provided the background for the Mona Lisa. I was really hesitant to try and drive the car after hearing the explanation of how you use the double clutch system, as it's not like a normal car or anything that I've driven before, but Charlie and Nick, our tour guide, made me do it, and I'm really, really glad that I did. We then went and had some lunch, cocktails, and did some more exploring, and we walked miles and miles every day, which we absolutely loved.
Sell it to me. Make me believe.
We also really enjoyed walking around the Piazza della Repubblica, which is full of artists selling their paintings and people playing music, as well as a beautiful carousel which also looks so pretty when it's lit up at night. And of course we also went to go and see Santa Croce, which is a church situated just 800 metres from Duomo, and it's obviously created in a very similar architectural style. It's also known as the Temple of the Italian Glories, as some incredibly well-known Italians like Galileo, Michelangelo and Machiavelli are buried there. We also had gelato numerous times, and we were told by one of the ladies who runs the B&B that we were staying in that you should always avoid the gelato shops where the gelato is piled up really high, because apparently that means that it's pumped full of air. So if you want really good Italian gelato, apparently you should go to the places where the gelato is quite flat in the tubs, because that means that it has been made freshly.
Yeah, strip.
we headed into town and walked down the Via di Tornabuoni, which is sort of the Florentine equivalent of Bond Street, so that was really interesting to see.
Say hello.
Hello.
We'd planned to make this day our museum day, as on the first Sunday of every month all museums in Florence are free. But despite us getting up really early, everyone else had apparently had the exact same idea as us and the queues were absolutely huge. So we decided to leave that for another day. Instead, as it was such a beautiful day and so warm, we headed to the Boboli Gardens. And to get there we had to walk under the old city wall, which was just magnificent. The Boboli Gardens are located behind the Pitti Palace, and it is a beautiful, beautiful park filled with differently designed mini gardens, fountains and sculptures dating back to the 16th century. These gardens were originally built for the Medici family, whose main seat was the adjoining Pitti Palace. And the gardens were absolutely beautiful, and we walked all over them. We explored basically every single inch and we saw everything.
Oh, I can't get any. Oh my god, I'm so zoomed in right now. Oh my god, they've got him, king of the castle.
And also, something to note if you are somebody like me who suffers from hay fever, the time we went, which was early April, is apparently the worst time for hay fever, particularly the cypress trees, and while we were there you could literally see the pollen floating in the air. So I was sneezing quite a lot, but I drugged myself up on hay fever tablets and got through it. After that, we filled up on more coffee and headed to a rooftop bar that Charlie had found for us online. It was absolutely wonderful, so quiet and secluded despite being right above one of the busiest areas of Florence, and the views, as you can see, were absolutely breathtaking. Later that evening we headed out for our anniversary meal, as this day was our official 1-year anniversary. We managed to get a table at a restaurant that had a little balcony with a view of the Ponte Vecchio, so that was lovely. We decided to get a horse and carriage ride to somewhere that we really wanted to go to, and this was the Piazza Michelangelo. This was located on top of a very, very big hill, and we'd heard that if you climbed all the way to the top, which did take quite a little while, and you could alternatively get a bus, but we'd heard that if you climbed to the top, the views were absolutely amazing. And the views did not disappoint, it was spectacular. So after that we were slightly exhausted, so we walked into town for lunch and more cocktails. And I'll leave the names of all the places that you see below in case you're going to go to Florence and you like the look of something. So that evening we decided that we had a craving for carbonara and tiramisu, and honestly they were both amazing, but the tiramisu was the best tiramisu I've ever had in my life. The next morning, with our flight leaving at 3, we got up super early and headed to the Uffizi Gallery. The museum was established in 1581 and opened to the public in 1765, and it houses some incredible works of art. Many of the paintings have a religious theme, and the ceilings are just as intricate and beautiful as the paintings themselves. I think I probably spent just as much time looking at the ceiling than I did looking at the walls. Even the hallways are lined with statues and portraits. This museum is just absolutely stuffed to the rafters with incredible works of art. And of course, one of the most famous paintings housed in the Uffizi is the Birth of Venus by Botticelli. You had to get in a second queue to even get inside this room, but it was worth it because this painting was even more spectacular in person. also really wanted to see the painting Medusa, which was painted in 1597, because when I was a child, one of my favourite books was all about Greek mythology, and I'm sure that this painting featured in the book. And after that we rushed back, signed the guest book and caught our flight. We absolutely loved Florence and we are already planning a return visit. So I really hope that you enjoyed this vlog, and I hope that you enjoyed kind of coming along on our little holiday with us, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!